Can everyone hear me? All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wow.
All right, up next is the roll call.
Here.
Buddy?
Oh, here.
Thank you. Richard Gardner.
Here.
Stacey Alvarez.
Here.
Justin Collier.
Here.
Matthew Seeds.
Here.
Renee Tillman.
Here.
Great, thank you. First item on the agenda is the future of the library update. And just as a reminder, this is a standing item on our agenda, just to give everyone an update on where we are in the process and provide some additional information. We put this item on the agenda in advance of public comment so everyone can hear the information and then if have questions or something like that. So Jason, do you want to go first?
Yeah, and I'll be brief. I just put some information together that showed historic capital expenditures as a percentage of revenue, because over a period of time, obviously, the value of the dollar changes and so forth. So you can go ahead and look at those charts. Really, the piece that I wanted to talk about is also the fund balance component. You know, you see fund balance expressed as a percentage of operating budget. But really, as Julie was just speaking about in the work session, that's a snapshot in time where that balance is paying our annual or our monthly expenditures for basically the full year. So if you look at the chart there, that really shows sort of the pattern that you see of our fund balance over the last 2 fiscal years. It gets in January, when we receive the bulk of our revenue, it gets as high as 140%, and then by the end of the year, it is down to sort of in the 70% range. So, you know, what you see reported at the point in time that the audit is, that's just that one snapshot. We had, and this is kind of dovetailing into what happened at the work session as well in terms to what some benchmarks are in terms of those fund balances. In terms of operating, as you know, we have a policy in place that says our unrestricted fund balance target should represent no less than 50%, no more than 75% of the upcoming projected annual operating expenditures. I did locate the State Library puts out Missouri Public Library standards, and they were just updated this past year. They say their operational reserve funds for exemplary library should cover 75% of their annual operating budget. And they also put a benchmark for capital at 50% of their annual operating budget. So you take those two things together, and that's 125%. So that kind of tends to show we're pretty close to right on where we should be, that 100 to 125% of operating budget according to the Missouri Public Library standards. So, but as we've talked about, the capital piece really depends upon future plans and future needs and condition facilities assessments and so forth. But so that's all I wanted to add, and you can look at the information as you like.
Any questions for Jason on the information he just shared? All right, so I did want to give everyone an update based on the process, based on the work session that the board had last week. We were specifically talking about our engagement, listening sessions, and so, I mean, we have received a lot of feedback over the past couple of months. And please, anyone, if you want to add or correct anything I'm saying, please feel free. So just after considering the feedback that we've received to date and the next steps in the process and our goal to have, meaningful and purposeful engagement, the decision was made that we are going to do our engagement later in our process. And so the next steps in our process are really going to be focused on gathering data and information that we need. We talked a little bit about this in the work session we just had in reference to expenditures specifically and capital expenditures and those types of things that are going to affect our decision making. So we did want to make everyone aware that we are not conducting the engagement at the beginning of the process as we had originally planned to do at the beginning of this process, just after all the feedback we've gotten. And the fact that, we did indefinitely table the May 17th proposal, and the path we are on now is to really gather that information and that data, and so we can look at what our next steps are going to be in terms of our expenditures and long-term financial planning. Anyone want to add anything else? All right. The next item on the agenda is public comment. So just as a reminder for our public comment, I will call the name of the person whose turn it is at the microphone, and then the person who is next in line to speak as well. Each speaker will get 3 minutes. We do have a timer, so when the timer goes off, you should stop speaking and return to your seat. Again, I would ask that everyone be respectful of the person who is speaking, so please don't interrupt them or talk back or make comments or anything like that while they're speaking. As a general rule, the trustees don't respond directly to comments. However, if we do want to share some information after comments are over, we will do that. The first person on the list is Arnie Dienoff. After Arnie is Jason Schroeder.
Good evening, members of the Board of Trustees. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dienoff, and I'm splitting my time tonight. I also signed up for other because I have a lot of issues that I want to go through that need to be brought to the full attention of the board. So I did that in compliance with your rules and policy. So the first thing I want to address is the future of the library update and capital spending. The Board of Trustees, I know you don't get paid any salary, but you really need to be more engaged and have some more debate in the public venue about our capital and about our expenses. I believe it's $4.3 million that you approved at last month's meeting in June for the 2025 fiscal year, and that's to go towards capital improvements. I would ask that you put all of that $4.3 million on hold to include not purchasing the 3 to 4 cargo vans that were approved in the June budget. We have a lot of cargo vans that sit idle in the parking lot that are brand new, and some of those $60,000, $70,000 Suburbans that the district purchased are also still sitting on the lot, not being fully utilized. And I think we can get by a lot longer with keeping those cargo vans and doing the proper maintenance, oil changes, and all the warranty that's appropriated in the owner's manual to keep those vehicles in tip-top shape. There's no reason why we can't keep those cargo vans for at least 10 to 15 years if they're maintained properly. On your agenda is 2 resolutions of appreciation, and I also would like to say thank you to Nevada Smith for his, I believe, 7 or 8 years of continued service to the district. He served as president of the Board of Trustees, and he gave up a lot of time from his family and energy to our community, and I greatly appreciate that. Also, a resolution to TJ Raines of the City of St. Charles is being recognized for, even though he unfortunately resigned last month for unknown reasons, he needs to be recognized for, I believe it is close to 3 years of service on the board. And then I want to talk about on the agenda the St. Peter's letter that was dated June 2nd, 2024, and we had an opportunity to make public comments at the June 27th, 2024 Board of Aldermen meeting. and it's in reference to industrial revenue bonds pursuant to sections 100.010 to 100.200 of the revised state statutes of Missouri for providing a sales tax exemption on the qualified construction materials to NP Lakeside 370 Building 5 LLC. They also want a $6 million industrial revenue bond put and backed by the city of St. Peters. This will not have any financial or fiscal impact on the St. Charles County City Library District.
Thank you, Arnie. Your time is up. Thank you. Up next is Jason Schroeder. After Jason is Brian Roida.
Hi. I want to start by saying that I really appreciated all the discussion and the questions that were being asked about the employee salaries during the work session before the regular meeting tonight. And I just wanted to not present some numbers because you have the numbers, but highlight some numbers that I hope you keep in mind as more projections come your way, especially as they pertain to employee salaries. The bottom line projections in the budget for fiscal year 24, the surplus deficit projection was off by $6.5 million. In fiscal year 23, it was off by $4 million. In fiscal year 22, it was off by $3 million. And in fiscal year 21, it was off by $3.5 million. All 4 years underestimated how much revenue we would bring in, overestimated our operating expenses versus what we ended up spending. And in regards to revenue, the library's revenues have increased each of the last 9 years. So regardless of what happens with property taxes, what bills get passed, don't get passed, for 9 years running, revenues have increased every single year. And in the fiscal year 25 budget, the revenue listed is more than $700,000 less than what we received in fiscal year 24. So with that in mind, I just hope that some scrutiny is put on any future projections that you all receive, especially as it pertains to employee salaries. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian Roida. After Brian is Danielle Foster.
First, I'd like to thank Mr. Raines and Mr. Smith for your service to this community. And again, I do thank the entire board for their work. I do appreciate this particular working session on the salaries. I will again voice my support for a tax rate increase, whether to solve a problem or to just make this library a better place. I would like to support it. But I would like to offer some thoughts on Friday's working group. I do recognize that you're not going to be closing libraries in the near future, but I still do have concerns 5 years down the line, as Ms. Alvarez was trying to allude to with some of her statements on the salaries. Even if we're not closing physical libraries, what else might we lose? One comment I like to make is that I believe Mr. Harden referenced low turnout at the meeting as a sign that people were less concerned with the situation, but there were a lot of people watching on YouTube. It was at 270-some views last I checked. Regarding the listening sessions, I do think that some of the trustees are being too literal with the name. I do agree they should be structured. I'd like to have some more of a back and forth as part of that process. I don't think it should just be another version of this. One question I'd like to ask is, what got missed or misinterpreted during that strategic plan? That was based on surveys and focus groups, and we're sort of trying to get more surveys and more focus groups. How do we avoid getting into a trap the same way, you know? The proposal to close locations was, at least in part, a response to the public's desire for more hours. And I'm wondering if there's a realistic path to getting more hours without losing something else meaningful or raising tax rates. And if you can't say that, then I do think we need these engagement sessions, listening sessions. It was disappointing to me to hear that some of the trustees do not intend to participate in these sessions. I hope a more defined structure will convince them to reconsider. I also have some concerns about the churn in this library board in the middle of this commitment. I'm worried that some of these new people coming on might not know what they're signing up for. I hope there's some kind of onboarding process to get them up to speed, because you've heard us talk for hours. You have thousands of emails. I don't know how they're going to handle that fire hose. Thank you. That's all I had. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Danielle Foster. After Danielle is Laura Marie Olsnicki. Sorry if I mispronounced your name.
Hi, good evening. I just wanted to make a few comments about Friday's work session. I honestly, I appreciate everything the board does, and I understand you're not paid and you spend a lot of hours doing things for the community, but it felt disappointing when I listened to a number of people say that they didn't want to have any part in listening sessions, and I'll agree with my husband. I do think that they need to be better managed, and it's not, you know, having 53 of them where all of you are sitting for hours upon hours, but the idea that, you know, 2 or 3 people from this board are just like, nah, I'm not even gonna touch this because, like, I don't feel interested. Well, I mean, you decided to sit on this board. You decided that whatever you guys came up with, you would take part in, and it feels sort of backhanded when 2 months ago, you're like, we're gonna have all these things, and now it's just like, nah, I'm not really interested in doing this. I was also a little disappointed in the talk constantly about getting rid of electronic books, media, whatnot. There was one member on the board, which I will not say because it's, you know, either you here or you weren't, who was like, I don't ever take out books because I couldn't read them because I would need them to be huge. But that's not all that the electronics do. They have books that you can listen to. They have music and movies, and they have a lot of children's content where you don't know what's going on at their house. Maybe they can't read yet, and their parents are trying to get them interested in media in general and in reading. That's all I had to say, but thank you.
Thank you. Laura Marie. After Laura Marie is Grayson Justice.
My name is Laura Marie Olesnitsky, and I come here because I am concerned about the future of the library and current leadership of the district. Within a couple of months of Jason Cool arriving, I knew eventually that branches would be shuttered. I did not know when or how exactly, but based on various conversations and inside knowledge, I knew that downsizing the number of physical branches was imminent. I had hoped I was wrong, and obviously I was not. I am a pursuer of information, and I am confused. Please help me and the public understand the following. As to why many staff members have voiced various concerns and have been dismissed. I personally know of one individual who went directly to members of the C-suite to express concerns regarding overspending of ebooks and was told, I don't care, it doesn't matter, buy it anyway. Why you let an entire collection, nay everything at Portage de Sioux be destroyed, even though there were plenty of people available who offered to move items to safety. The extreme lack of transparency. Why you have cut all of the floater positions. Staff are unable to use their paid time off due to there being literally no one to cover for them. Why you have cut library positions, including actual librarians. Why you have gotten rid of job-specific jobs and now have everyone do multiple jobs and are masters of none. Why you need a centralized call center. Don't use the excuse of being like St. Louis County, we're not that big. Why have you redesigned staff working spaces in direct violation of their wants and needs? Why you have hired consultant after consultant, spending gross amounts of money to tell you things that fit your agenda. Why you eventually want to close all mid-sized branches. Why you continue to give the C-suite raises when they are way above where they should be and so many other staff are below. Why you have left off the 3 branches slated to close from the scavenger hunt map for the summer challenge. That's not because of remodeling, get real. How you justify closing branches when growth in these areas is not decreasing but increasing. The lack of a long-term plan. How you think it is okay to twist data from the 2023 public questionnaire to make it seem like we wanted these closures without giving us all the pertinent information to answer what we actually wanted. How you wish to close the libraries when the spending is excessive. Spend funds wisely. Don't close our libraries, not now or in the future. We don't want to fight this again in a few years, but we will do it if necessary. How you think centralized programming is a good idea when the district on which you base it isn't even doing it anymore because it simply didn't work. In addition, it takes away branch autonomy, and that's not okay. I hope you know that the majority of the public's trust in you is gone, and if you deny us the listening sessions that you have promised with board participation, you are going back on your word, and what's to say that you won't do the same with library branches eventually? Do you care about the public, the patrons who keep your libraries in business? Do you care about your frontline staff? Do you care at all? Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is Grayson Justice. After Grayson is David Rogers.
Good evening. So I was following up on the library closures, and the name Jason Cool was up, and I was thinking, wait, this is the same Jason Cool who defended a non-binary librarian from a deranged woman who was spewing lies and false narratives. And I thought it was ridiculous. But then I read more from social media and news media in general, and I'm like, this is ridiculous, because I have a stepmom who is going to the one of the library that was supposed to be closer. Thank God it didn't. The Cursor Library, because she takes her grandchildren to the library, because that particular library, because it was much closer, much smaller than Spencer Library, which is big. And I'm glad people decided to come up and speak against of these closures. And if this happens again, I know it's going to happen, because you people are going to bring it back in 5 or 10 years. You're going to see more of us to bring up and say, stop with these closures, do something about it, and if you're not, then I don't know what we're going to do with you guys, people. I went to the St. Charles Pride Festival, and I saw your guys' booth, and I was so glad that you guys support the LGBTQ community. I was an entertainer there, and I had a great time, and yeah, that's all I have to say. No more library closures, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is David Rogers. After David is Arnie Dienoff.
Good evening, everybody. I do want to say thank you to the START for the work you've done to try and keep these libraries open. And an indefinite halt to the closures is definitely a big step forward, but it is an inflection point for our district, not just for the services we offer, where we offer them, or how, but also how we fund them. Diversification of funds is we are almost entirely property tax based. And if we increase the property tax value, as has been mentioned in many of these sessions, that may be a fix to that problem, but a better solution, in my opinion, would be to find a way to diversify the funds coming in. Whether it be sales or wage tax, a very small percentage across the county would not only help to shield us from increases due to the Hancock Amendment limiting property tax increases, but would also allow us to have, as one falters, another to buttress it up and provide for those funds. Because while we do have about a $3.3 million surplus currently projected, over increases in inflation, that may not last as long as we think it will. And then how long till we're fighting this fight again? Additionally, there's been some research from think tanks showing that every time a library in a district closes, it's a 1.3% decrease in property valuation. So if you look at homes that are right in that cross section of Kisker and Maclay, you're going to be looking at an almost 3% decrease in home values where your patrons are. Some of the ones who need it the most, who've been in this community the longest, and as those funds go down, it could very well start off a downward cycle of people choosing not to move into the district. And then there's less property tax for our schools, for our libraries, and then we will start to see a ripple effect of all of the system crumbling down around our ears. Libraries, police force, safety services, schools, these are the things that build up a community. We're seeing people who want to come in. I've seen houses go from sale soon to pending before they even have an open house or it's officially listed. That isn't because it's the most beautiful house in the country. It's because it's one of the best areas in the country. St. Peter's consistently grades in the top 50 for cities in the country, top 10 in the state. We have an amazing library system as a part of the reason to thank for that. And we really do need to look at further down the road, better ways to defend that. And it's not just raising one form of tax, it's finding more ways to bring money in from different pots. We all know with economics, diversification is the best way to safeguard yourself from ups and downs of turbulent waters, and no one can predict for sure what's going to happen over the next 5 years financially. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is Arnie Dienoff.
Thank you very much once again, members of the Board of Trustees. The County Council requested in a resolution for you to perform a state audit by our elected state auditor. So you haven't done that, so I have filed for about a month ago for a forensic audit form with the state auditor's office. I'm asking the governor to use $2 million appropriated to him for his authorization of special forensic audits of our library district. If he rejects that notion, then I will proceed with a petition countywide. Why do we have 58 to 71 employees in the administrative center? Can the trustees please look into this issue? Do we really need all those positions instead of being on the front lines and in the branches? That's my question. Salary parity of frontline employees who are in the trenches versus cabinet administrators. I believe in the 7 to 10% increase to bring them up to standards of the frontline employees. But I only believe in a 1 to 2% increase for centralized administrators who are making six-figure salaries, plus benefits, plus a pension. Be cognizant and good stewards of our tax revenue. The current president of the board, who I've asked not to be reappointed, her term is up at the end of this month, is the director of administration and the attorney for the East-West Gateway Coordinating Council, the clearinghouse for the regional funds to the region from congressional appropriations. Stacy, why are you not getting us grants and federal funding? It's right up your alley, and you know all about those federal
Conflict of
funding
interest much?
opportunities. In August, there will be a change in the majority of trustees with the appointment of Dave Zucker. The city has 3 new appointments coming up, and the county has 1 additional new appointment. Jason Kuhl, you have shown a deep lack of leadership and respect to our community. You do not bring, and you hide information from the board. You play political games. What does Jason actually do but orchestrate to demolish our public library district? Then Jason uses his wife, Laura, to run interference and confront people who disagree with Jason. Tell Laura, your wife, to stop, to respect citizens, to check her feelings at the door. Do not maliciously do property damage like she did to a resident at last month's meeting, which is the subject of a St. Peter's current investigation. Do not verbally attack or intimidate.
Arnie, if you could not speak about the family members of our staff, that would be great. Thank you. Can you
St.
move
Pe-
on to your next item, please?
There's a St. Peter's police
No,
investigation
that
because
is
the
the
county.
same item. Move to the next item, please.
I disagree. There's a police investigation to prove it.
Please move to the next item.
Board Attorney Lisa Stump is the president of the highly priced Lashley
Thank you,
Bear.
Arnie. Your time is up. Thank you, Arnie. Please take your seat. Thank you. Thank you. Please sit down, Arnie. Thank you. Please. Okay, we're going to take a break for a moment. Just wait for people to take their seat. All right. The next item on our agenda is reports and correspondence. The first report is Chief Financial Officer's report.
So included in your packet is the first draft of June, last month of fiscal year. You'll see 2 more drafts before it goes to audit. We want to make sure that all the additional expenses are included in the financials before they go to audit. We've received 100% of our revenues, and I believe I've covered the individual categories of expenses. If you have any questions, we have a few $1 million as related to the Mid-North Pradell renovation that's rolling over to fiscal '25. So that's the majority of our capital expenditures that are missing. But if you've got questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions on the financial report? Any questions from the folks on the phone? All right, next item on the agenda is the Chief Communication and Engagement Officer's report.
Hello, I'd like to share about a new email campaign that we're doing. They're called Clusters, and it's provided by our Orange Boy that you've heard us speak about before. It gathers automatically customers by their geographical use and pulls together all of our events, works with our calendar program to pull together all of the events in that geographic area. Since we started this campaign in April, we have re-engaged 1,700 library customers that were inactive back into the active fold. So that's a real positive thing. And then one other positive thing I wanted to share is our book fair coming up. I think it was less than 24 hours, we filled 400 volunteer positions. So kudos to our Friends of the Library volunteers. Any questions?
Any questions on the communications report? All right. Next item up is the Chief Administrative Officer's report.
So I'm actually going to pass the mic over to Carol, Maggie, Kristen, and Leanne, who are going to share some updates of things that are going on around the district.
Okay.
Okay, I mentioned in my report about the conclusion of the Get Connected at Home program for St. Charles County residents. And I know that I put the number in there that we had 746 devices checked out. But I just really want to mention the positive impact of that program for the people that were able to participate. The library has circulated hotspots for, I think, 6.5 years now. But you kind of had to cobble together consistent internet access if you didn't have that at home by using, our hold system and waiting maybe a little bit and having gaps. But this program was a solid, should have been 12 months, but federal government funding, we only were able to get our devices for about 9. But for a solid 9 months, our customers were able to have home internet at completely no charge. So I just want to highlight that and say how proud we are of that here at the library and how it was such a great effort from our outreach team, from our IT department, and from everyone in the branches to distribute those devices.
And then in my part of the report, our biggest highlight was once again partnering with the St. Louis Symphony, 370 Lakeside Park, and the Library Foundation, which on Friday, June 7th, we held a symphony event there at 370 Lakeside. Approximately 3,000 people showed up and joined us for quite possibly the most touching library event I have ever experienced in my 14 years here. The symphony performed, and of course it was lovely, but they had asked everyone in attendance, whoever could, play an instrument, or if they wanted to sing, the very final song was to sing Ode to Joy or play an instrument with the symphony. And so many people who attended brought their own instruments. I might cry just talking about it. Apologies ahead of time. Brought their own instruments. It was people of all ages and abilities playing together. Local band teachers in the community stood up in the middle of the crowd and conducted throughout the park, and it was amazing. So anyway, it was amazing. So next time we host a symphony, you all have to come. You have to come. You might see me ugly cry again. So on to Kristen.
So what I was going to talk about, what I am talking about is one of our pop-up libraries that we had in June, our pop-up library at Pride. We decided, kind of on a whim, to do a paper chain and have whoever came by, if they wanted to add a link to the chain. It was out of control in the greatest of ways. We started with 3 technically, because we needed to make it look like it was there. And then people came by and they added links to the chain. And we would get, it was great because we got like all ages. It wasn't just kids that were adding links. We had, teenagers, we had individuals in their early 20s, we had moms and grandpas and everything like that, just writing on the link and then adding it to our chain. You can see the picture in the board packet of how it ended up, just all over the place like a giant spider web. And we decided that because it was so successful that we're going to continue to do something like that at our pop-up libraries throughout the rest of the year, and see how big it gets at the end, assuming that the weather plays along with us, because we've had to cancel 2 of them. So, but it's been, it was really great. So.
Hi, my name is Lee Ann Litzinger. I'm the branch manager at the Corporate Parkway branch in Winsville. And I just wanted to highlight for you a program last month that was really successful and then something we're looking forward to next month. So last month, a number of branches had KidSight come to do vision screening for kids just as a drop-in. They're one of our partners. And since the timing worked great with the Start of Summer Challenge, we had over 49 kids at Corporate Parkway get a quick vision assessment so their parents would have an idea of whether they needed to follow up with a doctor to try to prevent childhood vision problems. So that was 49 kids, mostly birth to pre-K and then like early elementary school get to do that while they dropped into the library. And I think that was possibly like our highest number of assessments ever. So that was just really wonderful. And then as you may know, during tax season, we often work with different partners to provide tax filing assistance. And this year, our Gateway EITC partners approached us about extending that beyond tax season to people who needed to file or got letters from the IRS or had other things come up. And so this is the first year at the Corporate Parkway branch that we have been able to extend that. And we are working with our Gateway EITC site coordinator to have additional sessions that are drop-in throughout the summer for people who are still like, oh no, what do I do? I'm stuck. And so we will have 2 of those coming up on Saturday, July 27th and Saturday, August 24th. And people can just drop in and get help through, it's in partnership with the IRS's VITA tax preparation program where trained volunteers help those with moderate to low income with tax assistance. So we're really delighted to get to continue that because I'm in the branch, you get so many calls during tax season from people asking questions, and we're delighted to be able to offer that they want to keep working with us throughout the year. And so in this case, it will run through August.
Thank you. Any questions on the Chief Administrative Officer's reports? Okay. Thank you very much. Up next is the Chief Executive Officer's report.
All right. Well, first I want to start by thanking Nevada for his service on the board. It's down to just Justin now, who was here when I started. So Nevada and Justin are the only 2 left. So it's just you. But thank you. You've been great. As president, you've been just incredibly helpful, and the amount of time you put in, just want to thank you on behalf of the library and myself. I'll just really be brief on the report. There was, this is sort of timely for things that we've been talking about, a discussion that circulated on the ULC directors list, and I think there was a parallel one happening on the list for collections folks about percentage of collections budgets that are spent on e-stuff versus physical stuff. And it's probably the most engagement on any discussion there has been in quite a while. And you see that they really kind of range the gamut from 30% digital to 70% digital, depending on the library. And I think the consensus was nobody has necessarily a good solution. But I thought it was just really timely, so I included the information here for you. Other than that, work has started at Mittendorf-Cradell. Once everything got cleared, you really see how bad the carpet was. I included that picture so you could see that. And just happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions for Jason on his report? I mean, I do want to take the opportunity to commend our custodian of records for their tremendous efforts in keeping us in compliance with the Sunshine Act and our records keeping. So very happy about the work you guys are doing. So thank you very much. Thank you. Up next is the statistical report.
All right, Shirley, the main thing I wanted to highlight here is we've got a month worth of Spencer being open, and you see that folks are using it. So, up to 83.09 folks per hour open. So, can I answer any questions?
Are we seeing an impact to the usage of the mall location since Spencer reopened?
I haven't gone back and looked at the numbers exactly. I can glance over at, I guess Jennifer is now officially in charge of it. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions on the statistical report? All right. Up next is correspondence, and in our correspondence, we have a letter from the City of St. Peters from July 2nd on a proposed industrial development, or I guess tenant improvements in Business Park.
Yeah.
I didn't see in this package here exactly what the impact is. There's no impact?
There's no
Okay,
impact on
all right.
us, so it was just sent as a FYI.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And before we move to the consent agenda, I did want to mention, and Jason, sorry, I'm going back to your report. There is a presentation that's included as part of Jason's report, and that's a presentation Jason gave to the Weldon Spring Cottleville Chamber a week and a half ago, something like that, 2 weeks ago. So just FYI on that, I asked him to include it in the packet. And there are other meetings and different things that Jason's going to be attending. I mean, I'll be attending as needed, just to kind of get out in the community and give everyone out in the community updates on where we are and just provide some more information. All right, the next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. There is one item on our consent agenda, that's the draft minutes from our June 18th regular and closed meetings. Though I don't think we had a closed meeting last time, did we?
Motion to approve.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Nevada. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the consent agenda is approved. We don't have any unfinished business this evening on our agenda, so our first item of new business is 25-01, resolution in honor of TJ Raines.
All right, and I will read that. So, Resolution 25-01 in honor of TJ Raines. Whereas TJ Raines has distinguished himself through service to the St. Charles City County Library District as an appointee from the City of St. Charles to the Library Board of Trustees from November 2020 to June 2024. And whereas TJ Raines, during his tenure as a trustee, held the office of treasurer from the board from September 2021 to August 2022, and the office of vice president from September 2022 to June 2024. And whereas TJ Raines participated in and contributed to the review and approval of the library's strategic plan 2023 to 2027, providing expertise for information technology initiatives, the launch of the library's bookmobile in 2022, the purchase of property adjacent to the Mittendorf-Credell branch in 2023, the establishment of a temporary Mid-Rivers Mall location in 2024, and renovations at the Spencer Road and Mittendorf-Credell branches in 2024. And whereas TJ Raines served as an advocate for the library district and was committed to the advancement of the library district and the services provided to its customers, and whereas TJ Raines' thoughtful approach to major decisions impacting library service helped to ensure wise action on the part of the library board, now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the St. Charles City County Library District hereby recognizes and conveys its gratitude to TJ Raines for his exemplary service as a member of the Library Board of Trustees, for his dedicated service to the St. Charles City County Library District and all the taxpayers of St. Charles County, and wishes him the best in future endeavors. Resolved and passed the 16th day of July 2024 in St. Charles County, Missouri.
Do we need to take some action?
Yeah, we
Oh,
need to
oh,
pass this
oh,
resolution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Want me to read it again?
No.
Is So I will need a motion to pass this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? I mean, I would just say that we really would like to thank TJ for his service. He was a very thoughtful trustee. He was really of great assistance with a lot of the projects and initiatives we were undertaking. So he will be missed on the board. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? That resolution passes. Next up is Resolution 25-02, resolution in honor of Nevada Smith.
Okay. Resolution 25-02 in honor of Nevada Smith. Whereas Nevada Smith has distinguished himself through service to the St. Charles City County Library District as an appointee from St. Charles County to the Library Board of Trustees from October 2017 to July 2024. And whereas Nevada Smith, during his tenure as a trustee, held the office of Treasurer of the Board from September 2019 to August 2020, and the office of President from September 2020 to August 2022. And whereas Nevada Smith participated in and contributed to hiring a new library director in 2018, that's a good part, review and approval of 2 library strategic plans, 2018 and 2023, leadership of the library's Board of Trustees through the COVID-19 pandemic, purchase of the Cliffview and Highway K properties, launch of the library's bookmobile in 2022, establishment of a temporary Mid-Rivers Mall location in 2024, and renovations at the Cliffview branch in 2020 and the Spencer Road and Middendorf-Crudell branches in 2024. And whereas Nevada Smith served as an advocate for the library district and was committed to the advancement of the library district and the services provided to its customers, and whereas Nevada Smith's thoughtful approach to major decisions impacting library service helped to ensure wise action on the part of the library board, now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the St. Charles City County Library District hereby recognizes and conveys its gratitude to Nevada Smith for his exemplary service as a member of the Library Board of Trustees, for his dedicated service to the St. Charles City County Library District and all the taxpayers of St. Charles County, and wishes him the best in future endeavors.
Speech?
No. I was going to say he didn't need to read it, but it's fine.
I take it back.
That's fine.
Motion to approve Resolution 25-02.
Second.
Can I just say some comments?
Oh, absolutely.
I just wanted to thank you for your service. I've been on the board a very short time in comparison to everybody else, but you've been an individual who has had an open mind, and I've felt like I've been able to communicate with and bounce ideas off of, even in the parking lot of a grocery store. It's been an honor to serve with you. I really appreciate all of your thoughtful discussion and ideas that you've brought to the board, and we're going to miss you.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
It's a big loss. Any other further comment? All right. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion passes. The last item of new business that we have is 25-03, which is election of the vice president and officer of the board. For those who may not be familiar, when we have a vacancy in an officer position at our next following meeting, we need to vote to fill the position. And so with TJ's resignation, the vice president position is open. So that is why that is on our agenda for this evening. So at this time, I will accept nominations for the vice president position.
I'm going to nominate Matthew Seeds.
And after all those nice things he just said.
Parting gift. Right.
All right, we have a nomination for Matthew Seeds for vice president. Any other nominations? Matthew, are you accepting of your nomination before we put it to a vote?
Yeah.
Great. All right, so, well, we made the nomination. Do we also need a motion to, we haven't done officers' elections in a while.
I think there is usually a motion.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. All right, you want to make your nomination and do a motion, Nevada?
Sure. I will make a formal motion that we nominate Matthew Seeds as Vice President of the Board.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or question? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. All right, the next item on our agenda is a closed meeting. So we are going to talk about some personnel matters. So
I make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to RSMO 610.021, legal actions and personnel.
Second.
all right, and can we get a roll call vote, please?
Nevada Smith,
Yes.
Buddy Hart,
Yes.
Richard Gardner,
Yes.
Stacey Alvarez,
Yes.
Justin Collier,
Yes.
Matthew Seeds,
Yes?
Renee Tillman.
Yes.
Is that everyone? All right. So we'll just give everyone a few minutes to leave the room. We are back in open session from our closed session. The board did not take any action during closed session. We have no other items on our agenda, so I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.
How many?